Hi, class. All right, we're working on this second unit, text-to-text, writing my narrative, right? So using the techniques you learned about, the different stylistic things that you liked in the narrative analysis unit, we're going to build that out, and you're going to write your own narrative, right? So last week, we should have done the pre-writing, the writing process and the pre-writing. There was a live lesson from the 8th. There was a vocabulary lesson on the writing process and a quiz on that. There was a how to pre-write lesson and topics about which to pre-write, and then there was a space to turn in your pre-writing, okay? So all the learning, and then this has got a grade, and this has got a grade. All right. The next thing is yesterday's live lesson was on mentor text, so the second lesson of the unit. This was the live lesson yesterday. That's a video. Here is a link to, and let's just launch this lesson and take a look at what it will look like for you, okay? So this is about mentor text. I have gone over this all in the video that you can watch here, which is how I'm doing a read aloud and everything with the mentor text, showing you how to do the work. So watch that whole video. The next thing you'll find is a link to a website that has a bunch of the very same topics I gave you to write about in your pre-writing. These are less essays that were written by kids who got into college, and so these are examples. And you may use any of these as a mentor text. Yesterday, I shared with you a piece from a documentary. So it's Carrie Ellie's story. She was a student that went here. This is an alternate form. So if you'd like to choose not to write your essay, but to create a piece of film, and you have that skill set already, please be sure to. If you don't have the skill set, you can't do it because I'm only going to teach how to write. But if you already know how to make videos and you want to do it in that format, more power to you. Also, if you already write in rhymes, right, if you already have a practice where you're writing rhymes, you're writing songs, you might want to emulate Brandon and use his mentor text. This is from the same documentary, but the real feature here is Brandon's rhyme that he wrote, which is a reflection on his experience. It's answering an essay prompt, but doing it as a rhyme instead of as an essay. And then finally, there is an essay here, a mentor text essay here, where you can annotate, right my wrongs, right? And you can read that. There's also links to everything else, and you can upload your submission or just share Right My Wrongs with me, and that will be a grade. And then finally, there was a little quiz. This is a grade as well. So this is really easy. As long as you answer all the questions, you'll get full credit. Finally, we come to the lesson that you're doing in between, right? So tomorrow, Thursday, we have another live lesson. Today, I expect you to work on your draft. So the first thing I'm offering you is a Google assignment. It's our first Google assignment. So all you do is you come click that, and it will open. And then you want to make sure you go to the file. Notice it's going to make you a copy of the file. The reason we're using Google assignment on this one is because hopefully it will eliminate your need to make a copy of the document. All right, so we have this short essay by Lamont that I want you to read for inspiration, because everybody tells me, I can't write essays, and they get all stressed out. But really, the word essay just means an attempt to explain something, so there's nothing to be stressed out about. Lamont is a professional writer. She makes her living by writing, and this is what she has to say about what she calls shitty first drafts. I love that she uses that word. I'm using it because I trust that even though this is high school, you're mature enough to hear that word. She says, now, practically even better news than that of short assignments is the idea of shitty first drafts. All good writers write them. This is how they end up with good second drafts and terrific third drafts. People tend to look at successful writers who are getting their books published and maybe even doing well financially and think that they sit down at their desks every morning feeling like $1 million. Feeling great about who they are and how much talent they have and what a great story they have to tell. That they take in a few deep breaths, push back their sleeves, roll their necks a few times to get all the cricks out, and dive in, typing fully formed passages as fast as a court reporter. But this is just the fantasy of the uninitiated. I know some very great writers you love, who write beautifully and have made a great deal of money, and not one of them sits down routinely feeling wildly enthusiastic and confident. Not one of them writes elegant first drafts. All right, one of them does, but we do not like her very much. We do not think that she has a rich inner life or that God likes her or can even stand her. Although, when I mentioned this to my priest friend Tom, he said you can safely assume you've created God in your own image when it turns out that God hates all the same people you do. Almost all good writing begins with terrible first efforts. You need to start somewhere. Start by getting something, anything down on paper. A friend of mine says that the first draft is the down draft. You just get it down. The second draft is the up draft. You fix it up. You try to say what you have to say more accurately. And the third draft is the dental draft, where you check every tooth to see if it's loose or cramped or decayed or even, God help us, healthy. All right. So then you're going to answer what you think she's encouraging us to do and how she makes her writing seem. And then either this button says turn it in for you, or you'll press share and make sure you share it with me. Either of my emails is fine. Okay? Then you'll come back, and you've got a space here to upload your first draft, right? It can be very weak draft, it can be incomplete, it can be wandering and not well organized, it can be whatever it is. It should just be done as soon as possible after the pre-writing stage and ready for a little teacher feedback that you can guide by asking for what you want as you share it with me. So if you do not want me to give you, number one, I'm not giving you editing advice at the beginning, so spelling and grammar are completely off the table until we get to that stage of the writing process. But if you want me to look at, like, I love my beginning, but I don't know, I got lost somewhere. If you want me to find your way for you, I'm happy to do that. If you want me to suggest a way to start, that you don't like the way you started and you want to start differently, whatever it is that you want from me, just ask for it. I'm here to serve you, to give you what you need and support your learning and support your writing. All right, good luck.